Hey guys, it is, there's Castle. I took the day off today, kind of woke up and it was one of those things. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to work today. So it gave me a little bit of time to, Castle's ass right there. Gave me a little bit of time to be able to make a video for you quick. I really wanted to do a video on the 3 accessories that I put on this bike that actually kind of surprised me. You know, it's real hard to buy something, an accessory for a bike that you're just kind of like, man, I don't know if I'm going to like that. I don't know if I'm going to use it as much as I think I'm going to use it. Maybe when we were kids, the whole deal of maybe, you know, buying aftermarket reeds was one of them. Turn that a little bit. You didn't want to spend the big money on the reeds and then not be a significant difference. It's kind of one of those. And these 3 accessories, they were kind of expensive, but it was one of those deals. I think I was getting my stimulus check or something like that, or a tax return. Excuse me. And I had some extra money, and I decided, you know what, screw it. I've always kind of thought about doing this. Why not do it? I'm in the, I have some extra money right now. Let's try it out. My first one is gonna have to be my Recluse rear brake, hand brake. It was one of those things I was thinking, man, I think I would use that a lot, but I just don't know. And you know, I started looking into them. I looked at the ox brake and all that, and the Recluse one just kind of stood out, especially when they made the 2nd generation one. But it was, the price point was just like, man, $400 fucking dollars. But again, it was one of those things I didn't think I was going to use it that much, or I would hate to get it and, you know, the thing works like shit, or I was just disappointed in it, didn't use it as much as I thought. But I ended up getting it, and guys, I am blown away and really surprised on how much I actually use it. The times that I do use it, I run a Recluse. I run a Recluse Clutch. So you guys that have a Recluse, listen up on this one. If you're a Recluse guy and you enjoy hill climbing, I love hill climbing. The thing is, hill climbing in a Recluse, it sucks. It really sucks, because when you hill climb, to be able to keep, you know, if you don't make it up the hill, the only way to keep the bike there is either a front brake or keep a little gas on so your clutches are engaged to keep the bike there, because if you don't, the bike freewheels. So it's awful nice to be able to just grab the brakes, grab a rear brake, and be able to turn the bike around with that rear brake while the engine's running, or while, you know, you shut it off or whatever. So that's one big one. I enjoy using that when I'm hill climbing. 2, when I'm going down a really steep hill, let's say when I turn the bike around when I'm hill climbing, you're on the back of the seat, your heels are down, and it's hard to get that rear brake. You're on, you know, you're locked out on the arms, and it's also very nice on a steep downhill to be able to grab something there and have some rear brake and control your descent. Another one I like doing, going into a right corner real hard, and you need a little rear brake to slow down or to control your power out of the corner. It's also very nice to be able to kick your leg up out of the way of the dirt and be able to grab that around a corner. Other than that, guy, jumping. It's also very nice to where if you're in the air and your front end, you know, jumps up in the air on you and you kind of get in a panic, and you just can't hit that rear brake, it's right there. So I've used it in the air before jumping. Other than that, guys, it works very, very well. It doesn't lock up the tire as hard as the foot brake, but it does a damn good job. It's kind of like the front brake. You know, the rear brake's real touchy. You tap it and it locks up your rear brake, to where the front takes a little bit more. It's the same concept. It just takes a little bit more finger to lock up the rear brake as over the foot brake. Another thing that's kind of weird about it, if you do get in a panic and you smash your rear brake and your finger brake at the same time, it kind of cancels it out. It doesn't lock it up. It, like the hydraulic fights each other. and it doesn't lock up. So beware of that, because it's going to eventually happen. You're going to panic and you're going to go to grab both brakes, and what your mind is really doing is grabbing rear brake and clutch, and your fingers on the brake. Now I do run my clutch and my rear brake on the left hand side. My rear brake is underneath, my clutch is on top. So I still use my clutch like anybody else uses a clutch. Even though I have a Recluse, I still use my clutch an awful lot. It's just kind of habit. Another thing that you got to get used to is make sure when you stop to talk to a buddy, you're not smashing a rear brake right in front of them and almost falling on your ass because you think it was your clutch. I've done that a few times. But other than that, guys, yes, it's expensive, but it's one of the few things on my bike that I've put on my bike and been very happy I have, because it's awesome. I do use it quite a bit. I use it every time I ride, almost the whole time I ride. I have rode complete, 100-mile loops and never once touched my foot brake, just running my finger brake, because with Recluse, I don't have to touch my clutch anyway, so my finger stays on my rear brake. Second accessory, another expensive one of those deals. I had extra money and I was like, you know what? This would be beneficial for me. I don't know if I'm going to use it a lot, but let's try it. Voyager Pro from Trail Tech. It was one of those things. I've carried phones forever. I run an iPad in the side-by-side. It never really bothered me to carry a Garmin or to carry my phone, which I enjoy carrying a phone more because the apps are so much better. But it was kind of one of those things. I didn't ever want to put it on my handlebar, because your cell phone nowadays costs you $1,000, and you take one spill and crack your screen, you're gonna be pissed. Or you take even worse fall and you completely ruin your phone. Then you're out of your phone. So I never put it on my handlebars. I always kept it in my backpack or in a top pocket or in my pants pocket. And the only time I could look at it is when I stopped, turned the bike off, pulled out my phone, or took off my backpack. And I was like, this is a pain in the ass. And I was doing a lot more traveling, where I was on trails I had no idea where I was at. And I never wanted to miss a turn, especially in Colorado and stuff. You miss a turn in Colorado, you might have just went up 200-300 feet of elevation for nothing. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to buy this $600 Voyager Pro and see if I like it. Mounted it up front, and I tell you what, guys, I love it. The best $600 I bought in a long time for the bike. It tells me my bike temp, my outdoor temp. It tells me where I'm at. It tells me how many GPS satellites I have. It tells me where my buddies are if they have one. It tells me where my buddies on side-by-sides are at if they have Polaris Ride Commander app. What else? Another thing I really like is if I have earbuds in and my phone is in my backpack safe and out of the way, I can turn up my volume, I can change my music and everything right from the Voyager Pro. It has red lights or yellow lights when the heat's getting almost there, it turns yellow. When I'm in the red, it'll turn red. Same thing with RPMs. I don't run a wheel sensor. I run completely through the GPS. So the speed's kind of touchy, iffy every once in a while because I don't have a wheel sensor. I just didn't want another cable going down there, so I just run off GPS. The GPS is really reliable. I've never had a problem with it losing connection in any way, shape, or form. App, or not app, but a program that they have on the computer, you pop it up, you type in the state where you're going, find the map, drag it into your SD card, put it in the Voyager Pro, type download map, and it's on it. I've used it a lot in Wisconsin, Michigan, Colorado, Iowa, Illinois. Works perfect. So I really, really enjoy that. The third accessory, The third one was kind of hard to figure out. Yes, I love my Recluse Clutch. Yes, there's a lot of other things on my bike I really enjoy, but I'm gonna have to say the one that saved my ass the most, and I'm so glad I put it in, is my moose bibs. Moose tubes in your tires are something that I think guys spend the money on it. Yeah, it's $100 for a rear moose. It sucks. The initial, it sucks. But took the beta out to Michigan, 10 miles away from Castle, stay away from it. 10 miles away from where we were camping, got a rear flat. Rode 10 miles on the road on a flat. Sucks. It's just like this the whole way. You think you're gonna go into the ditch. You can only go about 10, 15 miles an hour. Got back to the campsite, completely ruined the tire. Sidewalls were destroyed, almost ruined my entire weekend. So I said, never again, you know, and I've had front flats and I've changed flats out in the field. That day I just wasn't carrying a tube. A rear tube sucks carrying because an ultra heavy duty tube or even a regular tube for the rear is awful heavy. It takes a lot of space in your backpack or your fanny pack or wherever you have it. It sucks. Especially then you have to carry a goddamn pump anyway. So I said no more. And I talked to some buddies. They run tubeless. Tubeless is great, but again, you have to carry tubes or plugs, and you have to carry away the pump up your tire, either a pump or a CO2 cartridge. And I've heard of them sometimes, not very often, failing. So I was like, I'm just going to go with something that's self-explanatory. It doesn't fail, and that's a moose bib. I'm going to tell you right now, putting in a moose bib, it sucks. I don't care how many YouTube videos you watch. You're not a professional fucking tire guy. It's going to suck. You're going to fucking swear at that thing about 100 times putting it in. Now, that being said, I really think it depends on the tire you buy. I think it depends on how tough the sidewall is, how tough the bead is, stuff like that, determining on how hard it is to put the moose bib in. I just happened to buy a tire that I really liked, and I've ran before, and it was a bitch. I actually destroyed one tire doing it. I broke the bead. I thought I could get away with it, but the thing is, when a bead is broke on a moose, it doesn't hold it on the rim. So as soon as I took off, that tire spun, popped right off the rim. So I had to buy another tire. Lesson learned. After a long period of time running the moose, you do have to pop the tire off, put some lube in it. What it happens is if you're running down the road a lot, heat destroys the moose. So you got to keep a lot of lube inside that in that moose. And if you're a trail rider, you keep it lubed for a while. Thing's gonna last a long, long time. So the initial hit of $100, yeah, it sucks, but you could go years on it, years. So keep that in mind. The very first day I put the moose in, I went to Michigan. I went riding on the Little O Trail. I came back, I loaded up the truck. I looked at the rear tire and there was a nail poking out. First day of having a moose, saved my fucking ass. Pulled the nail out, went riding the next day. Don't have to do anything, guys. It's awesome. It's really, really nice to go up to Colorado and just bash rocks all day long with your front end and never have to worry about getting a pinch flat is a really good feeling. Knowing, and what sucks is when you're out with friends and you know they have tubes, you're constantly worried and you look at me like, you bring a tube? No, we'll be okay. It's like, oh shit. So there are the 3 accessories that I have bought that, again, 2 of them were not cheap, $400 and $600, but were the 2 accessories that have absolutely blown my mind. And if you guys have ever been on the fence about it or been on the fence about a moose, I think if you buy these 3 products, if you buy these 3 accessories, you will be happy you did over time. Yes, the initial cost of buying them sucks, but like I said, I think you'll be very, very happy with them. So I just wanted to make that video for you guys. there you go. We're working on the KDX yet. That'll probably be in my next video up on YouTube. Buddy brought in a KDX and I've been redoing that, and I think it's going to look really nice. We're kind of on a budget, but you'll see it here in a couple weeks. So take it easy, guys.